Good morning, and welcome to the Morning Report here on fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, and fightbackmediatv.com. I trust that you are well today. It's a little afternoon here on the 25th of October. This is the Morning Report 405. That is impressive, isn't it? It's a Monday. And with a Monday, I've got my cup of coffee here with my PremierOneDriver.com cup. Oh, Greg, thanks so much for sending me the cup, buddy. Allowing me to pay for it. Now, before I get started, because I'm doing a video here, I want to let you know how real customer service should work. Greg from Premier One Driver is a YouTuber that I really like. And so what I did is, because the people I really like, I like to support. So what I did was I ordered a cup from his merch store. And when I got it, it came back, well, the printing was all screwed up. The printing was all jacked up. And I was like, is that the way it's supposed to be? That's kind of weird. And I put it up on Instagram, and Greg said, what's up with that cup? Let me send you another one. So, like a couple days later, I got another cup in the mail. It was very cool. I was like, wow. And it was just like this. It was exactly the same, screwed up. So I put that on. So at that point, I was kind of done with it. I'm kind of like, yeah, okay. Well, you know what, whatever. And I put it up on Instagram and said, well, we tried. And he said, that won't do. Now, other than the printing, there's nothing wrong with these cups. I've used them. As a matter of fact, you can see, those of you who are watching, you see that needs to be washed out from coffee, because I've used that one, and this one, same. So there's nothing wrong with a cup themselves. Nothing. Cups are fine. Great cup, great mug, great handle. No defects except for the printing. And he said no. So he sent me a third cup, and it was perfect. Absolutely perfect. It says on one side it has the plane that he flies, and then it has the phrase on the other side it says, "I love the smell of jet fuel in the morning," and then it has N390 Golf Mike GM, which also stands for good morning. So good morning, and welcome to the Morning Report. Just wanted to share that because he's a great dude, and this is how, if you're going to get into this and have merch and all that stuff, you got to and enter into the customer service arena. You're gonna have to do well, and I wanted to make sure that I started that. Spent a minute or so talking about that. All right, it's Manic Monday. Just another Manic Monday. Do you know that Prince wrote that song? That the Bangles sang? That Prince wrote that song? Did you know that? Now you do. My viewers and my listeners are the smartest people in the world, and they know a lot about a lot. So it's just another Manic Monday here on the Morning Report. Let me move this chair around because it's hurting my, thingy-bob down there. But we have a lot to talk about, so we're going to get to that in just a second here. And if you've not gone to the fightbackmedia.com page, go to the fightbackmedia.com page and Fightback Media TV. There's lots of videos there. You're probably watching this video that I'm doing now on the Fightback Media TV site. All the ones that have been banned from this and that, we try to put up on that site. All the ones all the people who are being throttled or shadow banned, we try to give them a platform by which they can get the message out, because it is about getting information out to folks. That's what it's about, really. And so we can fight back. All right, I'm gonna take a little break. We'll be back with more of the program right after these messages. Where is my mouse? There it is. Blooming Days Flower Shop is the premier florist in Tampa, offering flower delivery from Brandon to Lutz. Originally opened in 1986, Blooming Days Flower Shop has grown to be the florist in Tampa that customers trust most. Our family-owned local flower shop produces flower arrangements with superior design. And we're best known for our same-day flower delivery as well as the selection of special bouquets we've been crafting with love for 30 years. Our main flower shop is in Tampa, located at 11618 North Florida Avenue. Our secondary flower shop is in Newport Richey at 6835 State Road 54. If you want flower delivery in Tampa, give us a call at 813-933-1942 or 800-330-3297. Whether you're seeking your next adventure or simply want to reinvent the weekend getaway, Icon makes flying more exciting and more accessible than ever before. Prepare to redefine everything you thought you knew about aviation. Whether flying is something you already do or something you've always dreamt of doing but thought was out of reach, Icon's flight training courses are intended to show you how to get the most from the A5 in this unique operating environment. If you are interested in more information, please send me an email at iconA5info@gmail.com. That's iconA5info@gmail.com. We all wish to live a peaceable life, but sometimes life throws us curves that may require the skills of a lawyer to straighten things out. When that happens, it is key to find the right lawyer. If this is you, call 813-ASK-BRAD. That's 813-ASK-BRAD. Brad has a list of lawyers who are capable of representing you in nearly any type of case or charge. On the criminal cases, whether you are innocent or guilty, you want a private lawyer handling your case. We hope you never need Brad's services, but in case you do, he's here for you. 813-ASK-BRAD. That's 813-ASK-BRAD. He is the one to call. That's all. 813-ASK-BRAD. SwansonReport.net, TheSwansonReport.net, TheSwansonReport.net. A website that is dipped in truth and rolled in cogent conservative thought. Ready to challenge the mainstream media narrative with ease and aplomb. TheSwansonReport.net, TheSwansonReport.net.
A conservative who seeks truth over the conventional statist wisdom, coming to you from the southern headquarters of FightbackMedia.com, your host, Willie Lawson.
All right, welcome back. We appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being here, and we know that you're here because, you can't hide because analytics are real, and we see that you are here. We see that you're listening. We see that you are engaged. What we want to see is more of you here, more of you engaged. I don't really, people ask all the time, so how many people listen? Well, it depends. Because most of us live and die on people who listen later, people who listen at a more convenient time. We're on in the morning for the most part. So there aren't a lot of people who are at home, with their feet up, listening as if they're, listening or watching, Tucker Carlson on the set. So we get a lot of our, we get a lot of our listens, especially if you're interested in advertising, we get a lot of our listens in archives. People listen, at their convenience. It is the benefit of podcasting. So we know you're out there, so we appreciate it. All right, let's get started. I want to play this clip for you. This clip is from make sure I have the right one. This clip is from the the Prime Minister of New Zealand. She's being asked questions about vaccine mandates and the like.
So you basically said this is going to be like, well, it's almost like, you probably don't see it like this, the two different classes of people. If you're vaccinated or if you're unvaccinated, you have all these rights. If you are vaccinated...
That is what it is. So, yep.
So basically what she says is she's being asked if you're vaccinated, you have these set of rights, and if you're not vaccinated, if you're unvaccinated, you have less. So she's really kind of excited about the two-tiered system that they are building in New Zealand. It's funny. A lot of people that I talked to early on were like, we should move from the United States and move to a place like New Zealand or Australia. Yeah, no. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern proudly admitted that a new system which requires use of vaccination certificates is creating two classes of people in the country. So you've basically said that this is going to be like, well, it's almost like, and you probably don't see it like this, two different classes of people. If you're vaccinated or if you're unvaccinated, a reporter asked the Prime Minister. You have all these rights if you're vaccinated. And basically she said, you heard her. That's what it is. That's what it is. So, yep. The comments come as New Zealand announced a new traffic light system once each district health board has reached 90% of population being double vaccinated. Double vaccinated. That means that you've taken the 2 Moderna shots and both boosters. Speaking of that, the term, the CDC is in the process of changing the term of fully vaccinated. Fully vaccinated doesn't mean, okay, you went down to the CVS store or the Walgreens store because you thought it was the right thing to do and blah, 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 and you took your shot and you got your second shot and now you're fully vaccinated. No. Did you get the boosters? Did you get the first booster? Did you get the second booster? Now, I don't know about you, but those of you who've seen me and who can see me in the video know I got a little gray hair on me. And I might have to shave this sooner than later, but I got a little gray hair on me. So I've been around for a bit. Can you see that you're being played? Can you see that this is not what it continues to not be what they say it is? It continues, does it, and again, and I mentioned this 1,000 times. Are you not even curious? Are you not even curious? Now, what they keep telling you is that this is an ongoing, evolving situation. Well, most things in life are. Most things in life are an ongoing, evolving situation. But aren't you even curious that this continues and that's been continuing, and the goalposts keep getting moved further away? You do this and it'll be okay. You do this and it'll be okay. You do this, it'll be okay. 15 days to flatten the curve. 15 days to flatten the curve. You remember? Anybody remember? Just 15 days to flatten the curve. And now, in New Zealand, you got to be double vaccinated. I'm not even sure what that means. That's like super secret double super secret probation. Animal House reference. What the hell? Fully vaccinated. The vaccination comes with 2 shots. You got them both. You're good to go. Oh no. You need that booster. And now you need the second booster. And there may be more. Aren't you curious? Aren't some of you curious? Those of you who still wear your mask everywhere you go, and those of you who still look down at people who've decided not to. Those of you who blame the continuance of COVID on the unvaccinated, when the data says exactly the opposite? Aren't you curious? Have you not decided to maybe look at another search engine other than Google and say, what the heck is this? Aren't you curious? That's really the thing that amazes me. So when you have first responders and healthcare workers who are making the decision, they are making the decision to walk off their jobs. Now, if you are a healthcare worker, a doctor or nurse especially, it's hard to get, or even, EMT, EMS, it's hard to get those gigs. They're not passing those gigs out. It's a lot of trouble to get those gigs. It's hard. It's a lot of work. Yes, sometimes they pay really well. Well, not cops, not nurses really, unless you're a travel nurse. But you have to fight like hell to get those jobs to start with, and some people don't ever get those jobs. So, are you not curious why a nurse in a major hospital would decide on their own not to get the vaccine, not to get the shots? That they'd rather change careers than do that. Now, these are the same people who worked in these COVID wards all of last year. No vaccination, nothing. They would make the decision not to. So did they all become mouth-breathing, trailer park living Trump Republicans all of a sudden? All of them? That doesn't seem likely, does it? That just doesn't seem likely. Are you asking them why? Can we ask them why? Are the media going to these folks and saying, you worked all of last year without a vaccine in these COVID units, and you saw what COVID was doing. Why have you decided to leave your job other than get the vaccine? What are your reasons? How come? Now, these are the experts in the field. These are the people who've seen it up close. The horror stories. The people coming in, getting on ventilators, passing away. They've seen everything. Aren't you curious? So why? Is anyone asking them? I'm going to ask them. Listen, if you're watching this on Fightback Media TV, excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat. Gonna hit it with some Java juice. See what happens. Oh, that's better. If you're watching this on Fightback Media TV, or you're listening to this on whatever platform you're hearing it on, and you're in that group, please send me an email at fightbackmedia@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Send me your statement. Let me get you here on the website. Let me get you here on the air, on the podcast. Why are you deciding not to take the vaccine? And why are you willing to leave your job? Change careers. Why? There must be a reason. And my guess is it must be a pretty doggone good reason. You must have a good reason. It would certainly be easier to go right along. If you're a police officer, it would truly be easier just to go right along. If you're a nurse, an emergency room nurse, it would be easier just to go right along, wouldn't it? Why? I'm putting out the call now. If you're in that boat where you're willing to leave your job because of a vaccine mandate, let me know. Because I want to know why. Because I'm curious. And I think that other people are curious, or should be curious too. So I'd love to hear from you. Again, fightbackmedia@gmail.com, fightbackmedia@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. All right. It's, I love where I live. I just do. I'm looking out there now. It rained a little bit this morning. Got the air all nice and clear, and the sun's out now. There's a breeze going. It's just in the mid 70s. It's lovely. I love where I live, and I also love where I live because my governor is saying to out-of-state police who are being fired over the vaccine mandates, "We'll treat you better here. Come on down." Which used to be a marketing slogan when I was a kid that Florida used. Come on down, the water is fine. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said Sunday that he hopes to soon sign legislation to incentivize police officers from other states to relocate to the Sunshine State after a number of local governments have imposed vaccine mandates for law enforcement. DeSantis told Maria Bartiromo on Fox News on Sunday Morning Futures that Florida is looking to protect its existing police while also focusing on efforts to recruit out-of-state officers, noting that the state has needs in our police and our sheriff's department. In the next legislative session, I'm hopefully to sign legislation that gives a $5,000 bonus to any out-of-state law enforcement that relocates to Florida, DeSantis said. So NYPD, Minneapolis, Seattle, if you're not being treated well, we'll treat you better here. You can fill important needs for us, and we'll compensate you as a result. DeSantis also called for President Biden's vaccine mandates unconstitutional and vowed to protect Floridians from having to choose between the vaccine and their livelihood. The polar opposite of what they're planning to do, or what they're doing in New Zealand. The polar opposite. So again, if you are someone who believes that that vaccine mandates are a good thing, and you don't think that people who are unvaccinated should get the same rights that you do, rights to shop, rights to go to amusement parks, rights to do whatever, that because they can't show their vaccination card for this one disease, which is not the plague, which is a virus that 99.9% of people get over if they get. Aren't you curious? Aren't you curious at all? Are you not curious? This isn't the bubonic plague. This isn't Ebola. This is a virus that 99.9% of people who get it shake off. And sometimes, yes, sucks, but the flu sucks too. I guess. I haven't had the flu ever, I don't think. Aren't you curious? At all? In addition to be unconstitutional, in addition to taking away people's personal choices, it would wreak havoc in the economy, because even if a small percentage of these folks end up losing their jobs or voluntarily walking away, you're going to have huge disruptions in medical, in logistics, and law enforcement, DeSantis says. And so in Florida, our policy is very clear. We're going to have a special session, and we're going to say nobody should lose their job based on these injections, he continued. It's a choice you can make, but we want you to make sure we're protecting your jobs and your livelihood. The choice you can make. But the president says, freedom, schmeedom. Freedom. Yeah, I have the freedom to give you COVID. Give you my COVID. That, and it rained to mad applause at the town hall meeting. The TV program they put on at CNN. wasn't a town hall meeting. Town hall meeting is when you show up and the sharks are in the water out there. Everybody who was in the building was screened. All the questions that were asked were screened. They were all softball questions that all he had to do was spit out the same tired rhetoric he was spitting out all along. That's all that was. It wasn't a town hall meeting. Good God. Ridiculous. All right, we'll take a little break. We'll be back with more of the program right after these messages. Bloomingdale's Flower Shop is the premier florist in Tampa, offering flower delivery from Brandon to Lutz. Originally opened in 1986, Bloomingdale's Flower Shop has grown to be the florist in Tampa that customers trust most. Our family-owned local flower shop produces flower arrangements with superior design. And we're best known for our same-day flower delivery as well as the selection of special bouquets we've been crafting with love for 30 years. Our main flower shop is in Tampa, located at 11618 North Florida Avenue. Our secondary flower shop is in Newport Richey at 6835 State Road 54. If you want flower delivery in Tampa, give us a call at 813-933-1942 or 800-330-3297. Whether you're seeking your next adventure or simply want to reinvent the weekend getaway, Icon makes flying more exciting and more accessible than ever before. Prepare to redefine everything you thought you knew about aviation. Whether flying is something you already do or something you've always dreamt of doing but thought was out of reach, Icon's flight training courses are intended to show you how to get the most from the A5 in this unique operating environment. If you are interested in more information, please send me an email at iconA5info@gmail.com. That's iconA5info@gmail.com. We all wish to live a peaceful life, but sometimes life throws us curves that may require the skills of a lawyer to straighten things out. When that happens, it is key to find the right lawyer. If this is you, call 813-ASK-BRAD. That's 813-ASK-BRAD. Brad has a list of lawyers who are capable of representing you in nearly any type of case or charge. On the criminal cases, whether you are innocent or guilty, you want a private lawyer handling your case. We hope you never need Brad's services, but in case you do, he's here for you. 813-ASK-BRAD. That's 813-ASK-BRAD. He is the one to call. That's all. 813-ASK-BRAD. SwansonReport.net, TheSwansonReport.net, TheSwansonReport.net. A website that is dipped in truth and rolled in cogent conservative thought. Ready to challenge the mainstream media narrative with ease and aplomb. TheSwansonReport.net, TheSwansonReport.net.
A conservative who seeks truth over the conventional statist wisdom, coming to you from the southern headquarters of FightbackMedia.com, your host, Willie Lawson.
All righty. Well, thank you ever so much. Appreciate you being here. Let me go ahead and start the video. Yes, thanks ever so much, and we appreciate you being here. Really, really do. It is just another Manic Monday. Just another Manic Monday. So the next time you hear that song on like 80s at 8, 8 on 80s on XM, you'll go, Prince wrote that song. Yep. for Belinda, for the Bengals, featuring Belinda Carlisle. Yeah, weird, isn't it? Very weird. All right, let's go ahead and talk about what we need to talk about here. Here's something I think is funny. Now, you remember last year that Major League Baseball moved the All-Star Game out of Atlanta because they were instituting Jim Crow 2.0, right? Remember? Isn't it interesting that the Braves are now in the World Series? Back in April, again, Major League Baseball decided to punish Atlanta by moving the 2021 All-Star Game out of the city in response to a Georgia voting law signed into law by Governor Brian Kemp in March. The game was played instead in one of the whitest cities in America, Denver, Colorado, and actually has fewer early voting days than Georgia. Well, the Atlanta Braves have gone and made it to the World Series after defeating the Los Angeles Dodgers Saturday night in Game 6 in the National League Championship, 4-2. Clay Travers, and I like Clay because Clay's got a foot in both worlds here. He tweets, Braves, Major League Baseball pulled the All-Star Game from Atlanta this year, but the Braves responded with their first World Series this century. Glorious karma. Love it. Now what are you going to do? Are they going to play their home games in Colorado? Governor Kemp called out his 2018 gubernatorial opponent, Stacey Abrams, who continued to spread lies about that election. Brian Kemp writes in his tweet, while Stacey Abrams and the MLB stole the All-Star Game from hardworking Georgians, the Braves earned their trip to the World Series this season and are bringing it home to Georgia. Chomp on and go. While Abrams has not tweeted about the Braves since the win, Senator Raphael Warnock, who is insane, by the way, has done so to congratulate them. His congratulatory tweet led some to point out the hypocrisy, though of how Warnock did not oppose moving the All-Star Game out of Atlanta, despite how doing so would bring economic hardship to Atlanta small business owners. The decision by the MLB is a result of politicians silencing Georgians to stay in power. While I hope that athletes and the others will protest this unjust law by coming to Georgia, I respect the players' decision. I'll keep fighting as hard as I can for federal voting rights legislation. This dude's insane, by the way. Former Senator Kelly Loeffler, who's also insane, who Warnock defeated in January 5th runoff election, tweeted out her congratulations to the team as well, while including and sharing some columns that she wrote for Town Hall in April. Despite encouraging teams to make it to the World Series, Loeffler also discussed the economic costs. Experts estimate Georgia will lose over $100 million in expected revenue from the All-Star Game. Sadly, black-owned businesses will feel the economic fallout. 52% of Atlanta's population is African American, and nearly 30% of Atlanta's businesses are black-owned. You know that. Okay. This is, and I talked about this in a video I did earlier. We're going to close with this. Earlier this, in the past few days, how white liberals are the worst thing ever for black people. White liberals are the worst thing ever for black people. Because some of these black Democrats think that they're really pushing their own agenda that has to do with black folks. But what you're actually doing is pushing the white liberal agenda. That's what you're doing. You're pushing the white liberal agenda. And how do you know that? And how do you know when that's happening? You'll know when that's happening when black people are being hurt by the agenda. When black people are being hurt by the agenda. I'm just going to be real racial at this point. So when you're talking about the MLB pulling the All-Star game out of Atlanta, out of Chocolate City. It wasn't like it was in, I don't know, some other city in Georgia, some lily white suburb somewhere. When you're thinking about pulling it out of Georgia, where the estimated economic impact is $100 million. And when you're talking about in Atlanta, more than half the was it? What was the number? Make sure I get that number right. When like Atlanta's more than half of the population is black, and almost 30% of Atlanta's small businesses are black owned. It's a windfall for black people. It's a windfall. And then you decide, because of the white agenda, the liberal white agenda, to move that game and move that economic impact to the whitest city, one of the whitest cities in America, Denver, Colorado. And you back that, and you pat yourself on the back, and everybody gives a high five and hugs each other like it's a good thing. Like you've done something good for the people that you say that you represent, that you say that you're fighting for. Folks, are here I go again. Aren't you even curious? Don't you want to ask a question? Could there have been another way to do this? Why would you cut off your nose to spite your face? Because what we all know, adults, people with a little gray, know is that what really matters is not black or white, it's green. There's not a more empowering thing than being able to handle your own affairs because you have the financial resources by which to do that. There's not a more empowering thing. Someone providing housing for you is not empowering. Someone providing a job for you is not empowering. Being able to handle your own finances and handle your own life in the way that you choose, with your own resources, that are not tied to the whims of others, that's empowerment. So aren't you curious at all? Aren't you curious at all? I'd be curious. Well, Atlanta, congratulations for bringing the World Series to Atlanta. Major League Baseball, your move. Thank you ever so much for coming to the Morning Report, the 405th Morning Report, a production of fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, and fightbackmediatv.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.